going from classically trained to like EDM. It's kind of like fine tuning an instrument, right? Like I have been
Mhm.
doing wireframing. I've been doing like mobile design and web design for such a long time. But now I've actually decided to take a certificate program to like fine tune those skills. So if I've been building wireframes and like the skeletons are like rectangles and lines to, like I'm more fine tuning it and figuring out, okay, like let's annotate this. Let's make it a little bit easier for somebody who's consuming that information to follow along, whether it's the user or whether it's like I'm working directly with a UX designer. And I think that's more important when we're working more remotely now too. So it's not
Mm.
like we can have these conversations all the time in an 8-hour day. Like I send you over a document, you're able to review it yourself and you understand it immediately. So yeah, it just brings that clarity and
Yeah,
focus.
asynchronous work is the future, dude. Like
Mhm.
it's that definitely annotations and being able to send project files back and forth and work on your own time. That's the way, you know. I feel
Mhm.
like at our best, because working remotely, you can kind of like get into your own flow and know what your body and your mind kind of needs, right? You
Mhm.
can you can pump out like you can work on multiple contracts, like multiple full-time contracts in a day if you find that good flow, right? Because I feel like a lot of what full-time work is is like optics. It's like, oh, are you on Slack? Are you online? Like, are you there? Are you responding? A lot of it is
Mhm.
that rather than like getting to it and getting shit done. I don't know. Um, you know, yeah,
I
there's something there.
totally see where you're coming from. Yeah. Like even the last company that we were working at together full time, like my best days and my most productive days were the 1 or 2 days out of the week when I was at home just in front of my desk. And like I was able to set aside my time properly, like lunches, walking break, whatever, but it's it's not having that incessant like, hey, are you available? Can you do something for me real quick? Like,
Yeah.
can you back off? I want to be heads down. I want to be here.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yep.
There's some, yeah, fix good days, good days of fix. But you're right. Like a lot of it was optics. I think like in larger environments, it's optics, which is okay. I can't lie. Like sometimes I feel like I'd be down for like a part time, you know, role, which is what fix ended up being for me anyway. But I'd be down for like, like 3 hours, 4 hours of like, okay, you can't move that block. It's just like a fixed like 10 to 2. Just don't move that, right? And then after that, I can do all the contract work and like I'll take on all the gigs and stuff like that too. I'd be down for something like that. I think it'd be like a
Hmm.
sweet in between.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. How about you? Have you learned anything about like how you work best, like over this past couple of years? Like what's your flow? Like if
Let me just reflect for a minute.
like what hours do you like put out? Do you pump out a lot, or like I don't know, like do you like working a lot, like a little bit every day, or like the last 10% you just go ham? um,
I'm what I've come to notice is that it changes depending on the season. So like in the
I
summertime,
agree.
I'm awake at like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. and I'm like awake. I get up, I go outside, I take like an hour long walk, I come back, I'm able to sit down and like write down my to-do list for the day. And like I get things done earlier on in the day. Whereas in the winter time, I like to sleep in way longer. Like I'll wake up sometimes like around 10:30, but I'll actually start working around like 11:30. But I still have I'm not as super fixed to a schedule as with full
Mm,
time. Like I like
mm,
that flexibility of being a freelancer because I can check my emails at a certain point when I want. I can have my video calls. Like I have video calls I think 2 or 3 times a week, and I've
mm,
blocked off like 2 or 3 hours in the afternoons because that's like when I can best have a conversation. And then there are
Oh,
times when I'm just like
that's really
completely,
good to know. That's a good thing that you picked up. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That's
right.
interesting. Yeah.
And then the other thing is like if I'm in the zone or like wanting to do some heads down work in the winter time, that can go like super late into the evenings, or
Mm,
in the summertime it can be super early in the day. Like it really depends. And the flexibility that you get with freelancing, like I, I wouldn't change it. I feel way more creative, and I
nice.
feel way more better getting to choose the clients that I work with too.
True. True. Wow. I like that you kind of like picked up on like the hours that you do video, kind of like social type of activities best.
Hmm.
Um,
And how
for
about
me, like
yourself? Like I'm curious too.
the my focus hours are like from 1 to 4. It's when I can like block off everything and like just put head down. Usually, that's what I've noticed. Mornings are just notorious. Like I can't even function. I just read or do creative stuff. I guess it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I found that evenings for me are like best for like any social work, like video calls or like talking, sending, if I need to communicate with someone, I'll send like a video of me talking about something or like voice memos. I'm getting pretty big on too. Like because it's easier to be flexible with it.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I guess like, yeah. Um, yeah, but it's interesting to figure out these things. And the seasonal thing is a big thing.
Isn't
Yeah,
it? I
the
mean,
seasonal thing
especially because
is a
we're
big
in
thing.
Canada, like we just had
Yeah.
daylight savings time. Did that
Hmm.
mess with your schedule at all?
Yeah. Oh boy. Like I am a person that needs. I mean, that specifically, not too much. I think like I just need as much light as I can get.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just you're so much more happier. Like I'm really looking forward to spring and summer and just it not being cold anymore.
Hmm. That's why I mean, like the dream is, when I can at least, um, I want to get to the tropics in the winters. Work out of there. Um, yeah, right now I don't know if you know, but remember Mike Malewski from Fix? Did you interact with him at all?
Hmm. I think, is it possible he joined after I left?
It is possible. Yeah, it is possible. But yeah, basically some folks from Fix, um, they're out there in Costa Rica right now. I'm like, huh? They're all like
Oh,
freelance.
yes,
Yeah,
I've been following that.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm like,
Okay.
whoa, that is, you guys have built out the life, the dream life. You know, I don't have the cash for that yet, but that type of life in the winter would be good.
No, I
Um,
agree.
yeah.
Mm. If it wasn't for the
Anyway,
pandemic right now.
yeah, yeah. Hope the vaccines come around soon.
Hmm.
Really hoping they'll come around soon.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, okay. Here's another fun question. What's what's something fun happening in the UX UI design world? Like, what are some thoughts? I don't know. What are you thinking about these days? I can start if you want me to. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's a
Why
question
don't
for
you
you.
jump off?
Sure. Um, so I've been thinking a lot about participatory design. So that's like, like getting users to become designers in a way. Um, and we become more like facilitators. Um,
Mm.
yeah, it, it's interesting. It's like it's big in Norway and Sweden, and it's kind of like I think it's a I don't know, but I think it's going to be a good solution for like inclusion diversity. Just to get people designing themselves, and like we don't have to make the assumptions on what are good for people. You know what I mean? Which is what user research tries to do. It tries to like kind of erase the biases and okay, like what do people actually want to do? And then participatory design is like the next level, which is not many companies are doing it, by the way. Not none, no companies are doing it for all I know. It's like getting users in a room and designers, like yourself, product managers like yourself, you give them the tools and you tell them, hey, like this is how, for example, like Figma works, or this is how like a design process works. And then they are the ones to actually design the product. Like they use the tools and they design the product themselves. And so it's, I don't know, it's just it's interesting. I think it's going to be the future. I think it's going to be the future. Um, but that's some really like kind of like tip of the spear shit, you know? It's
Hmm.
like cutting edge shit. Not cutting edge isn't the right word. Um like it's new stuff. I don't see it
Hmm.
around, but I think it's
Like
gonna be around for
experimental.
experimental. There we go. Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting thought.
Mhm.
And this is my graphic design like brain kicking in right now.
Mhm.
It's like it's almost like design by committee, right? If
Mm.
I had 10 people who knew nothing about color theory, typography, like structure, anything like that, and I sat them down and I was like, all right, draw me out a logo of what you think this bakery should look like. I would get
Mhm.
so many different results. And like I think that's really good for like um what's the word I'm looking for?
Ideation?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like early on, like super early on. But then when you're
Mm.
like later on stages when you're like, okay, like we have option one and option two, kind of decide between the two. You don't want people to be too overwhelmed with options when you're just like, all right, I just need to get to the end of this now. So I think that's
Mhm.
really great depending on the phase that you're in. Like if you're in phase one, perfect.
Mm.
Yeah. But that's
Mm.
really interesting. Like I've never seen
Yeah.
that taking off here in Canada and like North America.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like it would take long. Like you can't. I imagine like until the tools really improve and there's like a really really broad general understanding of how to use stuff, and people like again like no color theory. There's no way it's gonna be like you know from beginning to end users taking control over everything. Like it just take way too long, and
Hmm.
that's one of the cons of participatory design. And like what I've read is that like it just takes really long. Like it's you have to be really
Yeah.
um because you need everyone's voices, and that takes more time, takes more resources.
Hmm.
But yeah, you're right, ideation phase, and that's a really cool exercise too. Like should this logo look like? Hey, draw it out. That sounds
Hmm.
fun to facilitate. To be
It
honest,
is like I love like brainstorming sessions, especially from people who have all these different mindsets and come from all these different walks of life. Like
hmm
I remember again at Fix, like doing
hmm
the remember the trade show booth, the hiring fair.
hmm
That is exactly what we did. I think we got one person from each department, sales, marketing, developers, whatever, to sit down and just like hash out all of their ideas. And it was great because I ended up
Wow.
with all of the results from that information. And it was way more things that I would have thought of just by myself. And taking
hmm
that and boiling it down even further and just adding my skills on top of that to to then turn it into like a trade show booth or a brochure or what have you from there. Um,
hmm
I need to wrap it up.
Yeah, yeah. I'm seeing the time there now. Yeah, let's do send me the deets on the rideshare project we're working on. Any briefs you got or anything like that? And
Right now I'm
we'll
like putting together the project and I should have it together tomorrow. So Australian time is different. But yeah, I'll be working on that tomorrow so I can send that to you. I have your email.
sure. How'd you find that lead? Like how'd you run into them?
Sorry?
How'd you get in touch? Like how did you connect with like
Oh,
such a company, or like
one of
sounds
the
interesting.
one of the app developers, I've actually worked with her on another app before, and she's a friend of a friend of mine.
Ooh, okay. So you know these people. Okay. That's
Yeah,
good stuff. That's good to know. That's really
yeah.
good. Okay.
Okay, awesome.
Cool.
And then so